Welcome. This is Melinda Barlow CZT, Certified Zen Tangle Teacher. And today's lesson is called You Too by Ann Bartro Dahi. And at first I wasn't impressed with this, and I feel bad about that because sometimes your first impressions are just kind of, everyone does that. We shouldn't, especially with tangles. And then I started to draw it because I thought, give it a second chance. And I really like the effect it is. It has such an illusion. And this is it. And I also drew it here on this tile. And I added, this is how Ann did hers with 3 dots. And I went back and I eliminated some of the dots because I was having trouble with it. But let's just move in a tile and let's get started on this. I'm going to start with just your traditional dots in the corners and border with your pencil. And I'll put in a couple of lines for strings. I'm not being real particular because I'm just going to do it in one part of this tile, just this upper section. And I'm going to start out by actually drawing a pen line right on my border and then echoing that line as close as you can get it, so you have a fairly fine line. And we can do, if you've got a curve, you can do a curve. So let's do this one on a little curve, just so that we can see. We could even do it down in here. So then I'm just going to turn my tile so that it's running vertically for me. And then I'm just going to put in a U shape. And you notice my U is fairly large. It doesn't quite touch the sides, but it's going to be uniform, not in size, but about how far it is away from the edge. So I was able to get 4 U shapes in here. And now we're going to take our pen and we're going to come from this side, touching the top of that U and ending at the bottom. And if you don't quite make it, you can come back up and fill in that. And neither one of those quite touched, but that's okay, because as I darken it in, I can touch it. The key is here to have it kind of a funnel look. So now I'm going to come back and I'm going to fill in this with solid black. And if you use a very light touch with your pen, your ink will flow very well and you won't smash in that tip. If you're heavy-handed and need practice, get the PN pen, which is a plastic nib, and it will help you get a light touch without crushing your pens. That tip. I like an 01 by Sakura, Micron 01, for the purpose that it has such a fine line, but I'm very heavy-handed, so I use the PN on days I know that I'm maybe a little stressed and need to that I know I'll press hard. And there we have our U2, and it's spelled U-T-O-O. You can add more when you see Ann's step outs. She has several little circles. You could do whatever you wanted. I tried a couple of other things on, see if I can find where I was practicing. Yeah, I was practicing with a few other ideas. Didn't really like much of those. Was doing it on a round piece. But when you practice, you may find a step that you like. And so there is you too, but the magic, I always think the magic comes when you shade. So capping pen, put a little graphite down in the bottom of that Y, and then a little graphite right here in this area. Now you're going to take your shading stump, and remember, you can clean that shading stump and it will last much longer just by a little emery board. So now we're going to just blend that up and blend this down. If you get too much graphite, clean it off your shading stump. I put a tiny bit of graphite down, and so I think I'm going to be okay. And look at what happens. I just think that is a fantastic tangle. And I can turn it around, and maybe I can do another one following this line. And I just like the double line. Maybe we could put one more here. And this time it's going to go in another direction. Simple use, and they get smaller as they go down, then they come in from the side. I love Zentangle. There's no real rules or do's or don'ts. You can do whatever pleases your eye. If you don't like it, don't do it. When you fill in, just kind of be careful that when you go to put your hand over it, that the ink is fully dried. It dries fairly quickly. The microns do. The jelly rolls take a little longer. And then come back and shade with your graphite. This one would also be beautiful done on a black tile with a white jelly roll. I think you could get some really gorgeous looking tangle. But I'm a firm believer that the shading on tangles transforms your tangle. I very, very seldom leave one unshaded now. When I first started, yes, I did. I didn't shade. I was working on getting my tangles perfect. But then after a while, I started shading. But there you go. You can have it going either direction, any direction. It is a great tangle. I did it as a border here, and I'll fill in the center with something. I added it to a couple of other tangles here that we did. Enjoy this. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Shopping at Inkidoodles.com helps support this channel, where you can get tiles and pens and templates that you can download if you're into that. And thanks again, and have a great Thanksgiving.